Hey, it's as if I never went anywhere. Hello. Let's do it. Let's get going. Do I want to do this first? I can do this first. I turned up the game sound a little bit in the levels, because I assumed the first episode would be a little bit low on the levels. I didn't even check. It just looked like it the whole time, and I didn't want to change it mid-video because I'm a monster. But here we are, back again. The second episode. What other spells do I have that I don't have on my bars? Is that it? Looks like we're good. And we don't pretty much get anything until Thunderclap at 14, which is pretty good though. And then Enrage is also quite good, right? Blah 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 blah. Generating 10 rage and increasing damage done. Yeah, that's quite good. It's just a nice extra bit of rage, and it triggers on Shield Slam and Devastate criticals and critical blocks, which are all things that happen quite often. Unfortunately, we don't get Devastate until 18, I think. 26? We get Shield Charge at 18. 26. Ugh. Ugh. Odysseus's Landing. So yeah, I just want to reiterate that we're going Prot because Prot is just the higher DPS, generally. So, yeah. Cookies, Jumbo Gumbo, Cookie McWeep. What about Captain Cookie from Dead Mines, dude? I should figure out these fucking Kui things. I don't know how to feel about the coloring. So I was using tidy plates for the longest time, and then they got broken in the last patch and haven't recovered or whatever. So I know there's a hot fix, but I'm waiting for somebody who is actually going to maintain it, because I know every patch from here on out, because the actual tidy plates guy like abandoned it or something. Not officially abandoned it, but he hasn't touched it in like a year or something. So I know for a fact that, you know, unless somebody else specifically picks up tidy plates, then it's just going to break every patch, and I don't want to deal with that. So until somebody actually picks it up, excuse me, I don't approve of this bullshit. Would you I don't get it. Okay, it's fixed. I don't understand this whole instancing bullshit that causes shit directly in front of me to just vanish. I don't get it. Whatever. Yeah, so until tidy plates is actually picked up by a developer, you know, who's planning on actually doing it, you know, for the foreseeable future, I don't want to deal with workarounds and it breaking and then workaround and then it breaks and workaround and it breaks. So I have decided to jump ship to Kui, which has worse defaults by far than tidy plates does, but that's okay, because eventually I'll fuck with them. But for right now, we're alright. I can live with it. And I mean, I don't even have defaults for my settings is the thing. Like I have messed with a couple settings. What is this? Oh right, it's an automatic critical and costs no rage. Quite powerful. Alright, compass. You! So what triggers the thing? Doesn't seem to exist, so, there it is. It's not in the spellbook, I guess. Maybe it's just part of one of these things. There we go. Critical strikes with shield slam cause your next heroic strike to cost no rage and be a critical strike. Quite good. Yeah, so one cool thing, which I can't actually show you until I'm 15, when I get my first talent. One really cool thing about Warrior is that eventually there is a talent. I believe it's a talent, right? Or is it innate, actually? Let me double check. What was it called? What is that? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know about that. Look at me reading all these things. Yeah, it's got to be a talent. It's not in my spell book, so it has to be. But it makes it so haste reduces the global cooldown on all your stuff. I don't know if that's the best talent at that specific tier. I haven't really paid attention to the other ones. I kind of briefly glazed over the talent tree just so I had some idea of what I was doing, you know, because I didn't want to like come in here like obviously I'm reading shit, but like I didn't want to like hit a 15th level, right, and then just be like let me read these for the next 5 minutes. So I glanced at it, you know, kind of went over it a bit, and hot out tree. All right, and so I have a good idea of which talents do what, but not perfect, obviously, because it was just me kind of glancing over it. Is the hollowed out tree actually over here? I mean, it's gotta be, right? Hey. Where are the leaves, though? I'm not seeing a lot of leaves. There's one. But yeah, that's a cool thing to reduce your GCD, because that's like the major limiting factor pretty much for every class, every spec is global cooldown, because everybody has like instant things that are really good, but a lot of the time it doesn't really matter. So like I have a priest who's currently level 50, and I'm leveling them as like a healer. They do have dual spec for shadow as well, but and I leveled them mostly as discipline through the levels, and I was like, I'm gonna try out holy. And holy is a completely different beast to discipline. Discipline is like essentially resto druid, in that a lot of your quote healing, a lot of your damage fixing is done preemptively, because on druid you're all HOTS, you're all heal over time and shit like that. Like you do have burst heal and shit, but mostly you're doing heals over time. So discipline's similar to that because you do a lot of shielding. You have power word shield, which is your big one, but ancient relic. Okay, but it's very bizarre because okay, as holy, you do still have power word shield, and in fact you have a hot. So it seems like, oh well, I should be doing a similar thing to discipline, but man, it fucking sucks. It feels so wonky. The weirdest thing is that you have to actually rotate your healing, right? So as discipline, it's like you use heal, literally the spell's called heal, to just heal and be mana efficient when you don't need to, you're not pressed for time, right? And then flash heal when you are pressed for time. As holy, you have like a goddamn rotation between those things, because using heal has a chance of making flash heal instant and cost no mana, and using flash heal builds up a stacking buff thing that hastes hastens the cast speed of your next heal or prayer of healing. And so you have like this rotation going, right? Where you want to be like mixing in flash heals and regular heals and prayer of healing only after you've cast like 2 flash heals, because it speeds up prayer of healing, like I said, which is like, you know, a big deal. Prayer of healing is your AoE heal. Oh shoot, I didn't think I had it, so I was like, tried to be a jerk and jack it in front of them too. How nasty is that? But yeah, so like discipline is just like you hit heals when you need to heal, while holy is more like you have it's almost like a DPS rotation of healing. And it was very finicky. It felt very weird, very wonky compared to the healing that I'm used to. Which is also why I can't even touch monk healing. Ugh, no, and never, ugh. I looked at the abilities, and then I was like, alright, this is confusing. And then I looked at a guide, and then I was like, alright, this is way too confusing. And I know it's not confusing, it just feels so weird. It's not intuitive, you know? I am a tree. Like, okay, all the healing that I did in Wrath, right? I had, well, in Wrath and early Kata, I had a Resto Druid, I had a Holy Paladin, and that was that. Those were my healers. When it came to tanking, it was just a Death Knight, I think. Oh no, in Kata I had a Prot Warrior that I played a bit. But, like, you know, Resto Druid feels very intuitive to me. It's a very, very enjoyable experience. Holy Paladin was very simple, I suppose. Apparently you have more than one spell now. God, jeez, man, don't get me started about that shit. But like, you know, if they felt intuitive to me. But I don't know, man. Holy Priest, Mistweaver, Monk, they just feel so wonky, and I don't get them. I do not understand them. How do I reach this kid? It's my impression of, what's his face from that one movie. It's, shit, what's the movie even called? It's the one where he's, like, he goes to, like, a shitty school to teach kids math. Fuck, what's that movie called? Oh, Stand and Deliver. There we go. Stand and Deliver. It's actually a good movie. Actually, is the line, how do I reach these kids, or how do I teach these kids? I think it might be... Fuck, I don't know. Maybe, I think it's reach. Or is it teach? Fuck, dude, I don't even know. I literally have no fucking clue. Doesn't matter. Alright, we get to be a tree. Regardless, it is a pretty good movie. And it's one that I enjoy referencing. I wonder where we're gonna become a tree. Naga flag is absolutely up. Alright, there, I'm a tree. This isn't suspicious. Oh, engineer spark overgrind. The traitor uncovered. Huh, I wonder who it is. Yeah, this all makes sense. I love how there's this quest, right? That was introduced in BC in a starting zone. And then in Wrath, in the Death Knight starting zone, you have one where you have to, you know, disguise as a tree. But they like they knock down the budget a bit on the disguising as a tree. Because in the Death Knight starting zone, you're not like a literal fucking tree like I am. You're like a cardboard cutout tree. Alright. You'll never see me. Don't worry. Secret safe with me. I promise. Yeah, I guess they had a lower budget for the Death Knight starting zone tree. God, level 10's taking a while. It's mostly because I haven't turned in shit. I'm gonna get a lot of turn-ins here, right? This is 4 turn-ins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. So this is 4 turn-ins. And I'll be able to get a 5th turn-in ready to go here. I don't remember where this one turns in. It might actually just be at Azure Watch. I'm gonna just kill along this path, go turn in. If there's more shit here, I'll take care of it. But if not, then I'll just kill the infected Night Sabers on the way to coming of age turn in. Seems like the way to do it. Also with the music just like not looping. It normally does. Every now and then the music just doesn't loop and I get really concerned. I also normally don't play with the game music on because I listen to my own music, but obviously this is a thing for YouTube, so if I listen to my own music, then I'll have fucking lawyers down my goddamn throat. Not actual lawyers. It'll just be the videos will get taken down immediately and I'll get a strike because that's how YouTube's copyright policy works. Which is fucking dumb, but whatever. It saves them from lawsuits, which I guess is the main goal of it. It does hurt creators, but it's not the biggest deal in the world, I suppose. It's only a big deal when a game company gets super pissed off. Which so far has happened, what, once? And it was it Sony? I don't even remember who it was. I want to say it was Sony. I mean, Nintendo gets super... They're very fickle with YouTube stuff. They don't like their games being on YouTube, but they also don't make it a point to put copyright strikes on like every YouTube video. Every YouTube video that has their game, that is. But they do get upset when people use their games. Specifically, they get most upset when you are using pretty much, you know, cutscenes from games, which I agree with. I think in general, like, I understand, you know, Let's Play culture a good deal. I've seen Let's Play culture from the very beginnings. So I understand that it is a common thing in Let's Plays to, you know, for like an ending cinematic, they just play the ending cinematic, game volume up all the way, and the person doesn't talk. But you have to realize you're literally just throwing up a cutscene at that point, right? That's just what you're putting on YouTube, is just the cutscene. And I do agree that if you're just putting up a cutscene, that is essentially like putting up a movie, you know, or a movie scene on YouTube. I agree with that. So I think it's fine to include cutscenes and shit in Let's Plays. What I don't agree with is the whole keeping it as explicitly the cutscene. You know, just the cutscene with no commentary or anything like that. Why? Oh, God, come on, just give me. Oh, just. But yeah, like, I understand people watching the videos. Most people who watch Let's Plays are people who either are never going to play the game or are going to, you know, eventually play the game, but just are uncertain. You know, they're using it as like their final thing. And both of those groups of people do tend to, all right, fuck it, I'll be back. I'll take care of this stupid trader bullshit. Maybe you'll be ready to talk later. Yeah, both those parties would like to see cutscenes. You know, I think it's fine. I think including them are fine. Go down to the beach and find that deceitful gnome. It's probably, yeah, there he is. Okay. Hi, dummy.
Can I help you?
Blah, blah, blah.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then. What a perfect line. But yeah, like, just including the cutscene without anything of your own is the same thing as taking, you know, video clips from streamers' fucking things. Like going to a pro gamer's stream, grabbing clips, stringing them together in a 5-minute video and being like, look guys, I did a thing. You fucking didn't actually. You did the opposite of a thing. You're leeching, but whatever. People seem to love those compilation things. And I understand why. You know, I enjoy watching them. But the second you monetize a compilation video that literally includes nothing of your own aside from the editing itself. Whoops. And here's the thing, right? The editing itself can be enough to put it over the edge, to make it your own content. However, most of the time, most of the people who upload compilations and shit do jack shit, right? Like, Trollden for Hearthstone videos, he does the right thing. He does it correctly. Not only does he not just leech, go to pro streams and like grab clips. They get submitted to him. You know, people who aren't even pros, just people who, you know, are recording their games and shit, will submit Trollden clips for Hearthstone, right? And, you know, he edits them together. He puts his own little touch on it, his own bit of humor in it, in the editing, including various epic sax guy and stuff like that. It is still fairly minimal editing, but it's enough, for sure. An example of somebody who puts fucking nothing into the videos, and I hate that they exist and are such an appreciated thing. Noob from UA in the Dota 2 community. This is like some big drama right now, by the way, in case you're wondering. Noob from UA. He's a guy who literally just creates compilation videos, you know, like stream highlights and stuff like that. Normally, it's about pro games, and that's fine. And he does it from in-client, and the main thing about him is that he uploads them quickly, right? That's the main draw, is that if you want to see, you know, some epic play from some pro player that happened on a stream and you missed it and it was literally 5 minutes ago, Noob from UA's got your back. And that part is okay. I am 100% fine with that part, right? Absolutely, that is perfectly fine. Now, the problem is when he literally grabs just a bunch of clips from, you know, a big streamer's stream, strings them together, and just, you know, calls it good. Just fucking slaps them in a video. Calls it good. I think this is down here. It's gotta be right. Yep. And that is so fucking... I don't know, despicable probably is like overselling it, right? But I mean, that's, you know, that's the word I would use, is despicable. Because it really is fucking dumb. He owns nothing. He's done nothing about that, and he still monetizes it. And multiple times, pro players have, you know, streamers and people have been like, hey, like, this is fine, but next time can you ask my permission? You know, like, and that's not unreasonable at all, to ask permission to use essentially the streamer's product, you know, in a video, or to, you know, create a truncated version of the streamer's product. How do I have my shield out and my sword away? It's weird. To create a truncated version of the streamer's product and sell that as a video, right? Ask permission, you know? If you do it, if you just do it without asking permission, like Shia would want you to, you're a fucking horrible person, and you're stupid. But that's what he does. And here's the thing that pisses me off, is that the pro players and the streamers and everybody is like, hey, can you take this video down? You know, I don't want you monetizing this. And then he does, and it's fine. Everything's fine, seemingly. However, he continually does it. Even the same person who asked him to take down a previous one, he'll put up another one of that person later, right? And it's like, oh, well, you didn't say this one couldn't be up. Yeah, it was that one, right? So he puts them all up, and then if people ask, he removes them, right? He's trying to, like, you know, circumvent the system. So why don't the streamers and the pro players who he's just taking clips from and getting money out of for literal zero work, I mean, not literal zero, but literally literal, you know, whatever, why don't they just give them, like, copyright claims? Why don't they just claim their copyright? Because you can. On YouTube, you're allowed to. And if, you know, if he tries to challenge the copyright claim, you have proof because it's your stream. It was taken from your stream, right? So it's not a completely bunk copyright claim just put there to fuck with him. Like, it's a legitimate copyright claim. And you know what would happen? His channel will get fucking shut down, which is a good thing, because he literally makes all of his money just by stealing clips from people's streams, which is so fucking retarded, but whatever. The Dota 2 community is a bunch of pussies. Although it finally got to a point recently, which is where the drama comes from. Great. Do I have to... Oh, Jesus. It got to a point where now he is literally on Twitter asking every single pro player, like, hello, my name is Noob from UA, and blah, blah, blah. Just some stupid copy-paste message. You're like, can I use your clips? And, like, half of them said no. And the Dota 2 subreddit is like, but why would they say no? It's like they have a stick up their ass. Well, I mean, maybe they said no because they don't want somebody to leech, you know? Maybe. And I was like, oh, well, you know, that'd be okay if they uploaded their own clips to YouTube, but they don't, so he's filling a void. He's really not. There's VODs on Twitch, you know? So, anyway, that's my 2 cents on this fucking bullshit. Please, for the love of God, just give me this. Okay. I had to do it before, she started yammering again in case that person was actually going to be turning in the quest. Seems like they weren't, and now I'm regretting picking up this instead of the boots, because I need boots. It's not like it matters at all. Excuse me, I guess I forgot to set my hearth again. I thought I did. Oh, that's right. I was planning on doing it between recordings of episodes, and then I just hit the record button and forgot. Whoops! We're gonna do some walking then. I apologize. Sorry, all this will be better in 9 levels. It is nice that they reduced the level required to get your mounts in WoW. Because it used to be, and I never had to deal with this, I don't think. Actually, no. Was it still there in BC? Because I started playing before Wrath. Because I remember all of the pre-Wrath event stuff, which was really cool. It was like a zombie invasion thing, and you'd get infected and become a zombie. It was really neat. I hope they do another, you know, pre-expansion event for Legion. Apparently they've done one for like every expansion, maybe. That would make sense, but I don't think that's true. I've never heard anything about the Mists of Pandaria pre-expansion event. Like, obviously they do the patch before the expansion comes out and shit, but anyway. I think it was still around in BC where you got your first mount at 40. Maybe not. Maybe BC was when it changed to the first mount being 30. But now it's your 60% mount is at level 20, and then your 40 or your 100%, which is the difference, of course, is at level 40, which maybe is where the 40 came from in my brain. And then, of course, at 60, you can get flying. At 70, you can get 280% flying instead of 150%, which is what regular flying is. And then immediately upon hitting... When can you get cold weather flying? You can get it at 60, right? The Northrend flying, I think you can get it at 60. I know you can get Azeroth flying at 60. Pandaria flying is at, I don't fucking know, 85 probably. I don't know. And then Draenor flying is at level 1, sorta, kinda. You have to earn it. Apparently I thought it was recent enough. I can find it in the spellbook, obviously. It's Draenor Pathfinder. But it costs no gold, which is awesome. I hope that they continue doing this system. I understand people were pissed that they weren't able to use their stupid flying mounts for the entire expansion and shit. Whatever. I didn't really care. All I care about is the fact that I don't have to spend some arbitrarily large amount of money in order to fly.
All prices here are reasonable.
And the fact that it extends to my alts as well is really cool. It's such a big fucking deal. I hope that that's the thing they do in Legion, is that, like, you don't get flying until level cap. However, it's also achievement based and extends to your alts. That would be sweet. Hey, we got mail anyway.
Remember the lessons of the past.
I will attempt to remember the lessons of the past, specifically the lessons of don't fucking hearth unless you're certain where it goes, you stupid idiot. Alright, so my anticipation for this series, the average episode will most likely have 3 levels, except for once we get to Northrend, I think is where it'll finally slow down. Northrend is actually such a slog now. I really like Northrend questing. I think it's way better than BC, but it is so slow compared to BC. To get from 58 to 68, which is the time that you spend in BC zones, it takes maybe 2 hours, I want to say. If you have the heirlooms that I have, right, which are all the XP ones, which is all 10% except the cape, which is 5%. Yeah, it takes like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours actually. It probably takes longer than 2 hours, but I like to well, I guess I like to oversell how fast it is. But then Northrend leveling is, I might actually just do dungeons through Northrend because they suck. They really, the questing experience in Northrend is so slow. I mean, it takes like, okay, so here's the pace that you can expect with leveling. Don't aggro me, you motherfucker. Whatever. I'm not even gonna touch you. I'm gonna ignore you. You're gonna leave me alone. So, pre-Outland, leveling is incredibly fast, obviously. I mean, 5 levels an hour is probably pretty reasonable for most of the time. Unless you're grinding dungeons, and then you can probably knock out 7 levels an hour, depending on the dungeons that you roll. Specifically, if you get a shitload of stockades, it'll be quite a bit faster, because you get the end of dungeon experience more frequently in that hour, right? And then if you, get, I guess, Sunken Temple's actually pretty fast now. What's a slow dungeon, like Zul'Farrak? Wailing Caverns is still kind of slow. I mean, they really didn't change it at all. People are always like, oh, thank God Wailing Caverns is so short now. And I'm like, it's the same dungeon? Like, it's literally the same. Yeah, whatever. Like, I understand people want to think that Wailing Caverns is shorter because it used to be, you know, a slog. And I mean, it still is a slog, but, you know, it used to be you'd commit your whole day to Wailing Caverns. And I mean, that was just because back then nobody knew where to go. It's literally the same dungeon. So I don't know where the whole, like, oh, it's so much shorter came from. The only difference is that the escort mission, it doesn't take like 5 minutes for him to walk. He actually runs at regular pace rather than RP walks the whole way. Hope I can climb this. Nice. So like, yeah, I mean, Wailing Caverns is still super fucking long, but people just don't seem to pay attention to that at all. Because something, well, they revamped all these other dungeons, so clearly Wailing Caverns is also revamped. But yeah, like if you get Wailing Caverns or Maraudon's pretty fast now because they split it up. But like Wailing Caverns or fuck, dude, I don't even know any long dungeons now. Zul'Farrak, I guess, is probably the other long dungeon that exists still. These guys they're not being kind on the drops. Yeah, so if you get the slower dungeons like those, then you'll just level slower because you get less of the big bonus, the bonus per dungeon. And then once you get to Outland, I know I said 2 hours, and that definitely is way too short, way too fast. I believe... Oh, okay. Requires Ravager Cage Key. Oh, I have it. Right, that's what this is. This is a cool Ravager, actually. Maybe I want to get this one on my Hunter, if I'm going to have a Ravager. Seems like the one to get. How much rage is that? 30 rage to execute? I don't have that kind of money. So Outland, you can probably get 3 levels an hour if I had to guess. If I had to put a number on it. Which is pretty good. And then you get to Northrend, and it's like 1 hour per level unless you spam dungeons, and even then it's like, at best, you're getting 2 levels an hour, probably. And then in Kata content, you just quest through explicitly Hyjal, get 85 in 5 hours. Pandaria, same thing, you just do Jade Forest, get 90 in 5 hours, and then you get to Draenor, which does vary depending on the zone you're in, quite heavily actually. The slowest is actually in Shadowmoon, if you're Alliance side. I don't know how Frostfire Ridge stacks up, but Shadowmoon is very slow. Once you get out of Shadowmoon, Gorgrond is so fast. Spires is also quite slow, and Nagrand is incredibly fast. I believe Nagrand always gets you to 100. Like the second that you have quests available to you in Nagrand, I think. Let me double check. I can check actually. 98 to 100. Yeah. So as long as you do every quest in Nagrand, you will never not be 100 at the end of Nagrand. Because you don't get the quest until, you know, whatever, you know, level 98, right? And it's more than enough quests to get those final 2 levels. So, Nagrand's good. Excuse me. But yeah, if you can avoid Spires, by the way, if you're leveling alts through Draenor, if you can avoid Spires, do it. It's very important that you skip it. And the reason is, hey, I don't have a belt. Let's grab some int belt. The reason Spires is so bad and that you should skip it is that it's so quest-centric, but every quest gives such a low amount of experience. And what level range is Spires? Let me double check this. 96 to 98. Oh, right, you're supposed to do Talador. Forgot about that. Yeah, fuck Talador. I think Talador is faster than Spires, but also fuck Talador, so. Yeah, Spires is just, I don't know, it's bad. The experience that you get from questing there is just bad. It's just low compared to the other Draenor zones. Which is sad. Because it is a really cool area. Learning about like the Arakoa backstory and stuff is really, really neat. And honestly, I'm gonna say it's a bit of a missed opportunity. The whole no Arakoa based raid is a little bit on the missed opportunity side of the spectrum, you know? Hey, we got some more grain. Because they could have made a really good Arakoa raid. I am certain of that. And the thing that's so sad about that specifically is, like, you look at Skyreach, which is the Arakoa dungeon, right? And Skyreach is so cool! And it's so fun. It's actually probably the most fun dungeon that I've done in Draenor. Next might be Shadow Moon Burial Grounds, just because of the final boss fight with Ner'zhul. That's a very cool boss fight. But I'd say Skyreach is definitely my favorite. And it's because aesthetically it's really cool. Mechanics-wise, it's very neat. It's fairly intuitive. None of the mechanics are, you know, outright bizarre or anything. They all just kind of make sense. And also they, you know, actually allow you to fuck up and die, you know? Hey. Like, there are mechanics in Skyreach that'll fucking kill you, you know? Specifically on the big ol', well, I mean, there's two bosses that have really neat mechanics, I think. The big bird, whose name is escaping me, who summons, like, sun spirit things, which are just, you know, phoenixes, that they lock onto you, they fixate on you, and you either kill it or you kite it, because if it hits you, you're fucked. You don't instantly die, but it does a good chunk of damage. I think you don't instantly die. I think I only got hit one time, and I think I didn't die. I don't remember. But that, and he also has the big barrage of feathers, or quills, I think is what the game calls them. Quill spray or something. And like, those mechanics are really neat, and you have to kind of at least understand them in order to not die to them. And then the final boss of Skyreach has that really, really cool mechanic of he or she, I don't know if it's a he or she, but they're like, cast them down, and then bird person flies down. That one's worth the most by 2 copper. Very important to min-max that. Hey, we are level 13. Alright, let's just run then. But yeah, so they summon bird people to grab whoever's targeted by it and slowly drag them towards the edge of the platform you're fighting on. And of course, if they get to the edge, then the person dies, right? They get thrown off the side and die. So that's a really cool mechanic, because it forces people to actually, like, kill the ads instead of just continue to tank and spank. Now, I'll admit, I had a group one time where we were all geared enough in a heroic version of the dungeon. We were all geared enough that we could just tank and spank, and the first cast them down didn't happen until the boss was dying, so it didn't actually matter. But in most circumstances, you cannot just tank and spank the boss. The DPS has to actually pay attention to the ads and take them out. And it's also a great situation to have a Death Knight. In fact, Death Knights might be one of the best classes from a utility perspective in Warlords of Draenor. There's a lot of stuff Death Knights do that's very good for pretty much everything. Especially if you're doing time walking. So if you don't know, currently there's a time walking event for Lich King, obviously ending on Tuesday. So there's not for you. It's over. Sorry. But it's cool. So it just scales everybody down. Everybody who's above the level of Lich King, like above level 80, I'm pretty sure, can queue up for this, and you'll get scaled down stats and DPS and all that shit down to what you would be if you were level 80, and you essentially get to run through. Okay, go to Exeter. You essentially get to just run through like heroic versions of the Lich King dungeons, and it's really cool. It's enjoyable. But in Ankahet, there is a Nerubian who casts a shadow spell that does 80% of the target's, I think, maximum health, not current. I'm pretty sure it's max health. 80% of their maximum health to them instantly, like no cast, I'm pretty sure. Maybe there's a cast. I don't fucking know. It does 80% of their health and shadow damage. That's it, you know? So the reason that that dungeon always sucked to do in heroic is the tank wouldn't understand that that was a thing that could happen to them, and as such they would pull 2 of that caster, and then the tank would instantly die, right? Just straight up instant death. No excuses, no forgiveness. They just die, right? I believe I'm looking for you up here, which means I think I have to walk up here. There's like a ramp. I don't know. I hope so. But Death Knights have an ability that allows them to steal, essentially control, an undead. Right? Just a target undead. Those Nerubians, or Nabubians as I like to call them occasionally, are undead. So you can jack one of them and use that spell against the bosses and kill them pretty much instantly. So they're very helpful to have if you get Ankahet in the time walking event, because you can just obliterate the bosses real fast. It's pretty cool. Arcanan Poros. Give me that shit. I didn't pay attention to the prices. I just saw 3 and I was like, I think that's higher than the others. Again, it's fairly irrelevant. I have 1,000 gold. What does that look like? Hey, dumb. One thing that WoW does really, really well is it makes it so, like, as you level up, the gear progressively just looks cooler, you know? Until you get to Warlords of Draenor, where it looks fucking awful. But that's why transmogs exist and everything is fine. But, you know, early level stuff like here, look at the legs and the mace. Well, those legs are actually pretty neat, but I think that's just the female Draenei thing. They have nice legs. That's not weird, right? But yeah, so like gear just looks so dumb for so long, and then, you know, you finally get to like your 40s or so and gear starts looking cool, you know? It just looks neat. I'd say 40s is pretty much where that starts. And then it gets progressively cooler as you progress, of course, until you finally get to BC, where then, you know, BC leveling gear looks dumb, but BC rating gear looks dope as fuck. And then, you know, same thing with Wrath, and then Kata, and Mop, and then Warlords of Draenor looks fucking dumb anyway. So, like, it's really, at that point it becomes kind of your own personal preference. But it does just pretty objectively, gear just gets cooler as you level up, you know? As you progress through the leveling of each specific area, just gear gets progressively cooler. Which is awesome. That's one way to make it feel like you're actually doing something when you level up. Another way is have a talent system that's not total horseshit like this current one. I don't want to talk about it. I really hate the current talent system. I really prefer the old one. And the first argument, whenever I say that, the first argument that crops up is people saying, oh, you liked every level putting 1% additional critical strike on this one spell? Yeah, I did. Because you know what happens after you do that for 5 levels? First of all, you have 5 levels there where you actually are doing something, right? You level up, and then you do something. Right now, you do that every 15 levels is when you do something, right? And the old system was, you know, every level you do something. Sure, it was a minor something on a lot of the levels, but it was still something. And then, after you do those 5%, that total of 5% crit strike on this one spell, then you get to unlock the big talent that's after it. So it feels like those past few levels were working to something rather than, hooray, I'm level 15. Time to choose between my 3 survivability things. Spell, passive. I'll go passive. Right? Like, that's what it feels like now, and I hate it. Whatever, though. People seem to like the new one. I just don't. This is not my cup of tea. So hopefully artifact weapons will improve it. I know with artifact weapons it's a bit wonky, because it's essentially like Path of the Titans, which was a teased feature that never got implemented in Cataclysm. One of the last times that Blizzard didn't deliver on something that was teased for the expansion announcement. Yeah, I think so. I think that was like the last time that it happened. Maybe not. Maybe they had one that was more recent. I'm pretty sure that was the last time they failed to deliver. They delivered on all the Mist stuff and Warlords of Draenor stuff from the trailer specifically. In Wrath, they failed to deliver because there were no dance studios. Destructible terrain was much more limited than it was teased as, and there was no aerial combat in Wintergrasp. So that 3 strikes right there. But anyway, so artifact weapons are going to be like Path of the Titans, where it's essentially like the old talent system that you can progress after you've hit level cap. And eventually you do get all of it. You do like finish your artifact weapon. You get everything that's part of your artifact weapon. So it's not really like a talent system. It's like a temporary talent system. You get to choose where you put in the points, like the order you put them in. But eventually you will have them all. Which is questionable, I think. I think it's a weird one. But it, at the very least, will feel like you're doing something when you're, you know, raising a completely artificial number on an artificial thing in a... Excuse me. What? Alright. I mean, I appreciate this. Why do I... Okay. Apparently I'm going somewhere. Wants you to warn High Chief Stillpine. That's Stillpine. Wait. Oh! Okay. So they're on Azure Mist. Got it. Okay. I was like, why is it not popping up in my questing? Alright, we got this. I'll do this quest and then I'll end the episode, I think. What was I saying? Right, so as you level up your artifact weapon, every time you level up your artifact weapon, it'll at the very least feel like you're doing something. It won't feel like, you know, oh, what did I get this level? Nothing. How about this level? Nothing. This level, I got 1 spell. This level, nothing. This level, hey, I get to choose between the 3 talents that I don't care about. Like, that's the other thing that I dislike about the current talent system. In the old talent system, you know, as a hunter, I just didn't get survival. Not like the spec. Literally, like, survivability things, talents, right? Like, reduced damage and stuff like that. And now it's just forced on me, right? Now the talent system literally forces me to take it. It's like, I don't need this. You know, I don't stand in fire. I'm not that kind of idiot. I'm an idiot, but, like, I'm not that kind of idiot, you know? Search the... Okay, well, I'll... What the fuck? How did I not see these before? I mean, I shouldn't do them. But maybe I will. So yeah, in the old talent system, it's like, you know, if I don't stand in fire, I don't need to take the stupid survivability bullshit. New talent system, if I don't stand in fire, well, then I get punished by having 1 less talent. And which is especially impactful considering now you only get them every 15 levels. So it's pretty fucking bullshit if you ask me. But oh well. Also, depending on your class, maybe you get 2 survivability talents. Oh, then it's real bad. Although I will say, the level 100 talents are really well done in general. So, props to whoever came up with specifically the level 100 talents. The rest of the talents, I don't care about you. Alright. Chronakai Christ. So I don't actually own an Elk. That's weird that the gravestones are solid. None of the other graveyard gravestones are. Like, anywhere. Yeah, I don't actually have an Elk mount. At all. I don't know if I want one. They're kind of dumb. If I want a big mount, I'll ride one of my 2 mammoths. Alright, Cookie, get over here, you dummy. Alright. So I guess I get to hold on to this mount. Probably until I go indoors or until I turn in the quest. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end this recording and I'm gonna start the next one when I get up to Stillpine Hold. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. We got 3 levels in this episode, which is a bit under what I expected. I expected to get 15 in this one, but whatever. We got where we got. Can't change the past. Blah, blah, blah. I'll see you guys in the next one.